Robert Wagner and Jill St. John first met in the 1950s, but it would take decades before their relationship became a marriage. At the time, both were contract players at Fox. They knew each other, but their eventual romance didn't begin until many years later. In November 1981, Wagner experienced a devastating loss when his wife, actress Natalie Wood, died during a boat trip near California's Catalina Island. Jill St. John had known Wood since childhood, and after Wood's death, St. John reached out to Wagner with flowers and a sympathy note. It was a gesture of support during an incredibly difficult period. Then, about 2 months later, Wagner and St. John crossed paths again at a dinner party. According to St. John's friend and business partner Jane Smith, something changed after that meeting. Smith recalled that Wagner started calling St. John, and the two began dating. And this is the part that makes their story particularly interesting. They weren't strangers suddenly meeting for the first time. They had already known each other since their younger years in Hollywood. Their connection had simply taken decades to develop into something more. Eventually, that relationship led to marriage. Wagner and St. John tied the knot in 1990. And more than 3 decades later, Wagner is publicly celebrating her 86th birthday by calling himself blessed to love her and do life with her. But there's another fascinating part of their story. Both Wagner and St. John had already built major Hollywood careers long before their marriage. And Jill St. John, in particular, became famous for one role that remains part of movie history. Because long before she became Mrs. Robert Wagner, she was already a Bond girl.